Dalvin, I hope you're doing well. Welcome into the game in T-Town.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, good.
Glad to be here.
Good. Thank you again for talking some Alabama football with us. We look forward to the conversation. Talk about the draft process of going through this event as your life is put under a microscope and they asked you a lot of crazy questions in the process. Talk about the going through this draft process.
It's a long process. It's pretty much a 4-month interview. I'm trying to enjoy the whole process and take everything in from Senior Bowl, from the Senior Bowl all the way into the Combine and just training with Pro Day, having Pro Day here with Coach Saban and all my old teammates watching me and everything. So I'm just pretty much taking everything in.
Let me ask you, what's the latest team that you've visited with and what's some of those plans in the next 14 days?
The last team I visited with was the Arizona Cardinals. And for the next 14 days, I don't have any visits planned. So I'm pretty much just training here in Tuscaloosa, making sure I'm still in shape and keeping my cardio up and strength workouts and things like that.
When you met with Arizona, did you meet with Coach Bruce Arians?
First I met with Coach Buckner, and then I met with all the other coaches the following day. We talked about the D-line scheme and the whole defensive scheme they have up there, and they showed me around their facilities and things like that.
Got a couple of Alabama guys out there. Bruce Arians has coached here, and I've talked to him personally about getting those Alabama defensive guys before, so we've had him on the program. And let me ask you, in your opinion, coming through the Alabama system, playing for Nick Saban, how do you think it's helped you in going through this process?
I think it helped me out a lot because Coach Saban pretty much has one of the closest things to a pro-style type of system here at Alabama, and I feel like that helped me a lot going through the process because the things we have to know on the defensive line, most defensive linemen around the country don't have to learn those things what the linebacker and DBs do on the field. And just being able to learn those things while I was here with Coach Saban and being pushed each and every day to my limit, and then beyond that, just helped me get mentally and physically prepared for this process going to the next level.
Looking at Alabama and going up against the best of the best, when we talk about in practice, was Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday harder than Saturday afternoon?
Yes, I would say the practice is a whole lot harder than the games when it comes to practicing for Coach Saban.
Is that because of the talent level, or is that because the coaches just maximize what you guys are able to do? Why is that? Is it player or maybe a little bit combination of both?
I'll say it's a combination of both because we always have great players here at Alabama, and that's the standard we hold each other up to each and every day, not from the coaches, but as the players as a whole. It's just a big family environment, and we always hold each other accountable up to the highest standard possible. And you come out there, you want to get better because of the person next to you. You want to make sure that he could depend on you each and every play in any situation in the game. So you always want to go out there and push yourself each and every day. As well, push the people around you, become that much better for each other. So probably, yeah, it was just having the teammates like that just made it that much greater, though.
Yeah, I mean, when you look back at playing for Coach Saban, and I often think as fans, as media members, we're caught up in the moment that Alabama's currently in with this run under Nick Saban, winning all the games, the championships. You ever just step back for just a minute and say that, you had a chance to play for, I don't know, arguably, I say he's the best coach ever, but some people would say Coach Bryant or others. Do you ever just step back and say, I had a chance to play in one of the greatest dynasties ever in college football for the greatest coach to walk the sidelines?
Yeah, it's been a couple of times I just stood back and looked at it like that, and it was an honor to play for Coach Saban and just be on the team with the players I played with. There's a lot of great players come through Alabama each and every year, and it's a blessing to be able to play with those guys and learn from those guys and connect with them off the field also.
What is the one thing that us as media or fans that don't know about Coach Saban, or maybe it's a misunderstanding that we don't really see the true Nick Saban behind the scenes?
Behind the scenes, Coach Saban is a really caring guy, funny, and he likes to relax for the most part. A lot of people think he's just serious all the time, that when if players go over his house or something, he's like the most relaxed, funniest guy you could be around.
All right, so when you go over to Saban's house, does he let you drive the boat, or is he always the captain?
He let a couple of players drive the boat every now and again, but he likes to be the captain just take us tubing all the time.
So did you hang on, or did you get slung off?
I hung on a couple of times, but a lot of times he threw us off because, for the most part, and it was tough to hold on when Coach Saban was driving. That's pretty much the main point.
We're talking right now with Dalvin Tomlinson, and as we continue this conversation, Dalvin, let me go back and ask you about being recruited by the University of Alabama. What was that like, and what did that decision really come down to?
Being recruited by Alabama was pretty exciting because it was one of the best teams in the country at the time when I was getting recruited. And I was pretty much a high recruit coming out of high school and things. And it was tough because, I was big on academics, and I always wanted to make sure I got a good degree no matter where I went. And Harvard offered me a scholarship also. And I grew up a UGA fan because I was from Georgia. And UGA, Georgia Tech, I was thinking about staying back home in Georgia and things like that. But when I visited all those schools, and then I remember the first time I visited Bama, it just felt like a home away from home for the most part. The players here treated me like family. And I met with a business school, and just the academics here was one of the best in the country. And I was just like, oh, man, it's just a perfect fit for me. And I just knew it was just the place I had to play football and come to school and get my degrees.
When you sit down 15, 20, 30 years from now, what's that one story that you will tell your kids, your grandkids about playing football at the University of Alabama and have a chance to wear that crimson jersey?
There'll probably be a lot of different stories because a lot of them might be taking place in practices, some tough practices we may have here at Bama, and then the other ones would be like when we won a national championship my first year as a freshman, and also in 2015 season when we beat Clemson in the national championship, just the excitement of winning, earning that ring and being on a stage like that and just playing in the national championship game that many times and going to the SEC championship almost every year I was here. It was just the excitement. You probably won't be able to feel that, like a lot of people don't get to feel that excitement throughout their college career at a school, at a university, and just playing throughout the season, and each and every week someone's trying to take you off the top, and you have to prove to everybody you deserve to be there.
When you look at a team on film and you see a team that performs to 11, I'm talking about the opposing teams, how much more did that team play above their standards when they play Alabama? Because, the Crimson Jersey sort of gets the best out of everybody. When you see a team on film and then you have a chance to play them on Saturday afternoon, how much more did you guys get out of the opposing teams?
We knew when we were watching film, a lot of the teams are going to play a lot better than they were on film, so you always have to be aware of that. And pretty much almost every team we play, like you said, they give us their best game of the season. And we have to know we have to come to the game and play our hard football each week in and week out. And we knew they were going to be a whole lot better on game day. And when game day came around, they performed a whole lot better than they film showed. So you can't go into the game thinking, oh, we're just going to have a cakewalk, because it's never going to be a cakewalk when we're playing a game. Just because everybody else in the country is also talented and has athletes across the board, and they want to beat us just like we want to beat them.
Did the pressure of winning at Alabama ever get to you, the expectations here?
No, because we don't focus on winning. We just focus on going out there and dominating the person across the ball from us. And if we do that for 60 minutes throughout the whole game, the win's going to come natural.
Now, that goes back to the process, right?
Yes.
Okay. So help us understand, because most people, you guys don't even look at the scoreboard. Or according to Nick Saban, that's what you're not coached to do, is to look at the scoreboard, and you believe if you execute every single play that you're going to win the game.
Yes, because, for instance, Ole Miss this past season, we were losing in the first half. We were down a lot, and if we would have looked at the scoreboard, like, we probably would have gave up from that point on. But right in the second quarter, right before halftime, we scored 2 defensive touchdowns, turned the whole game around just to put us back into the game. And just things like that, you just have to continue to play football. Even if you mess up one play, you have to move on to the next because you can't change the past.
What would you tell people about the Alabama fans?
We got some intense fans. They love Alabama football just like we do. And they're going to support us week in and week out. And they're a great fan base.
Yeah, it's pretty special. I mean, I'm forced every day. Not forced. 4 hours of Alabama football, 5 days a week, 52 weeks out of the year. I mean, if I start talking about MLB, they call in and go, "Hey, come on, it's football time." You know, it's spring practice, and we're certainly focused on that. Give us a little bit of a tease on some guys that Dalvin Tomlinson's watching for the future stars at Alabama, maybe the guys that we don't know a lot about.
It's hard to tell because there's just so many great players at Alabama, and any one of them could just pop up and shine throughout the season because in practice, there's so many of them looking so good out there.
When you look at leadership, because you, Jonathan Allen, Reuben Foster, Tim Williams, others left a big vacancy on that side of the football. Give me a couple of guys that you think will stand up and sort of be that team on the defensive side that can take the roles that you guys vacated.
I think the biggest person who's going to have the biggest leadership role is Sean Deion Hamilton, simply because he's the middle linebacker, and most defenses, the linebacker is pretty much the first person who comes up and starts off the leadership roles because he's in the middle of the defense. Across the ball, more and more people are going to start to show up as more leaders like we were the last couple of years. This is going to happen over time. But I feel like Minkah Fitzpatrick is going to be one of the leaders in the DB area. Deron Payne is going to step up and be more of a vocal leader. He already leads by example, but on the defense like ours, you need more vocal leaders, and I'm pretty sure he's going to step into the role and take that leadership role just because he's been with us for so long. And he's started since he was a freshman, and he already knows what's expected out there on the field week in and week out.
Is this team going to win the national title next year? No, I'm just kidding. No, I mean, the minute you say that, that's going to be quoted out there. Dalvin Tomlinson says they're going to win it, but this team seems to have a great attitude. You guys left a great example, and you can see that when you go out to practice. This team's got a really good attitude, and you guys did too last year. You had a unique brotherhood, one of the close-knit teams that I've ever covered last year. It was really unique brotherhood.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's crazy when you go out there at practice. It seems like just younger versions of us out there still playing football, and just like it's just they're reloading and not rebuilding each year. It's
going to be a lot of fun, certainly. What's your first purchase?
Huh?
What's your first purchase when you get the NFL cash?
Most likely going to save all the money for the most part. And I like video games. I might buy me a new sketch pad to draw with.
Okay. All right. So 2 weeks from today, where are you going to be spending the draft at?
Back home in Georgia.